Hello, this is my case study for AEP 880. So, the main characters of this story are the parents of Joel Pham, Mr. Rolnick, the teacher, Joel Pham himself, the student, and Miss Smith. So the situation is that Mr. Rolnick likes parents to volunteer in his classroom and help the classroom in some way. Just to help with the success of their students, because parent involvement is really important. So he gives parents a lot of different opportunities to be able to help out with the classroom, whether they come into the classroom or they do something at home and then send it into class. But the issue is that Mr. and Mrs. Pham are not active in Joel's school activities, and Mr. Romnick doesn't understand why. They don't help with anything. They don't volunteer in school or at home, and so he's not exactly sure why this is going on, because it's not a transportation issue. They live close enough to the school, and Mrs. Pham's employer gives time to volunteer and actually pays them to volunteer, so that's not a situation. So he's concerned of what's going on and why they don't help out and participate in the volunteering. And then the concern is that the family might not feel comfortable with the school based off their experience as students, because Mr. and Mrs. Pham were students at the school, and they are from a Vietnamese and culture, and so they feel like they were not treated and welcomed in the school as much as they should have, because it was a long time ago, and so cultural diversity was not as accepted back then. So what might be keeping the Phams from volunteering? Well, with speaking with Miss Smith, it is clear that Phams may not have been treated very well as students in the school, since they were students there, and so they could be holding a grudge. They could be holding a grudge to the school. They could be holding a grudge to the teachers, because some of the same teachers are still there. So this could very well be one of those situations. They just wanted out of the school and they got out, and now they don't want to go back. Another reason could be a cultural difference. They could be a very private family, so they do things at home, but they don't like to do them out in public, such as support Joel's education at home and not in public. They could help him with his homework, ask him how school's going, be active in that way, but not going to school and doing it. And then with my experience, parents don't understand what is expected of them sometimes, and so that's why communication is really important, so that the parents know what is expected of them or what we'd like to. Sometimes there's a miscommunication or a misunderstanding, and again, some of the parents that I've worked with, they felt like they wouldn't be able to help. With the parents at our school, we have a very high Hispanic population, and so a lot of the parents actually don't even speak English, or they speak very little English, so they feel like they wouldn't be able to help, when in actuality it's the complete opposite. There would be a lot of help here with some of our bilingual students, and getting them taken care of and situated and reading and stuff like that. So communication is a really big deal, so that we are on the same page and there's no misunderstandings. Approaching the Pham family. So how should Mr. Rolnick and other reach out to the Pham family and others that may have been affected by a hostile school environment? So Mr. Rolnick could have a meeting with the Pham family to build that relationship, to again build that bridge, and see, make sure everything's taken care of, see if they have any questions. Once that relationship is built and that communication is flowing, it's a lot easier to understand exactly what their thought process is, and why they may or may not be doing something we would think to be a regular thing. They don't. So with that being understood, that can answer all the questions, or some of the questions that Mr. Rolnick may have. Administration again can reach out and see how the Pham family is doing, and take that avenue again, build that relationship between the school and the family, so that they do feel comfortable. They do understand it's a different time. Um, and if the school has a new diversity or has a diversity program now that they didn't before, they can make sure that that's understood, and that make sure and see if Joel feels like the school and everybody's being treated fairly, just to build that relationship with a family. And then the strong communication with family, again, that's how the relationship is built, is with that good, strong communication, not just the family, but also the community. So that if anybody else is still in the community, they have that same opportunity to understand and get that closure that they probably would appreciate. This could have been prevented by building the Mr. Rolnick building a relationship with the family at the beginning of the year, instead of waiting until however long he waited, partway, halfway through the school year. So reaching out at the beginning of the school year, calling the family, letting them know how excited he is that Joel is coming into his class. And this would be done with all students, not just Joel's family, but with all the students. Is sending notes home, communicating through maybe Class Dojo, letting all the parents know what's going on in class, what the students are doing, and how excited they are to be doing what they're doing. And then diversity training is also really important, so that Mr. Rolnick knows how to approach the family, and in an appropriate, respectful situation, and again, just get that relationship built. So in my experience, working with parents from the start of the year is really important. You don't understand how important that is until you get into a situation where there's a little bit of miscommunication and the parents aren't sure exactly the best way to get a hold of you or approach you. So with that, that's where it starts, and it's very, very important. And then keep parents informed of what their students are doing in class. Again, parents love to see that. It helps them see what their students are doing. They can talk about it with their students. And so when the parents have that relationship, that activity with their students about what's going on in school, it's easier to have with that teacher as well, because the parent knows what's going on in school. How might the FAMs assist Joel's education without volunteering? They can show interest at home by asking Joel questions about his school friends and what they're doing in class and what he learned, and any activities that are happening at the school. And then they can also help him with his homework. Again, that is a huge assistance for Joel's education without volunteering. They could get Joel a tutor if he needs one for anything. Make sure that the student has all the supplies that he needs for class. That's a huge support for his education, because if he doesn't have the supplies and it's something that he's stressing about, then he's not going to be doing as well in school if he has to worry about that stuff. And then keep Mr. Rolnick in the loop, in contact with Mr. Rolnick, so that he knows what's going on as well. Those are all different ways that they could assist Joel's education. So just because they're not volunteering doesn't mean they're not assisting with Joel's education. So in my experience, offering to provide items for the class or the classroom, parents will provide books and all kinds of stuff for the classroom, again, just to help not just their student, but to help all the students, because they know that makes a difference for all the students. And then parents keeping in contact with myself and asking questions about their students, how they're doing, is there anything they can do at home to help their student. All that stuff makes a huge difference, both for the teacher, the parent, and the student. So there's definitely a lot of room for involvement without volunteering. So that is my presentation for our case study. This was a really interesting, neat project, and so I really did enjoy this one. Thank you.